The mute boy gently touched the abandoned baby's head. The next second, the baby emitted a beam of golden light. The golden light instantly entered the boy's body. Immediately after, the boy who had been mute since birth suddenly could speak. The boy's mother was extremely excited. She felt great affection toward the baby girl. It turned out the baby girl was a little angel. Those who treated her kindly would receive God's blessing. Those who treated her badly would be punished. The reason the baby appeared on the street was because her biological father had an affair. In order to bring his lover's son home, the biological father secretly swapped the two babies. Then he abandoned his daughter on the street and left her to fend for herself. The general's mute son happened to pass by. He heard the baby girl crying, so he gently touched her out of compassion. The baby sensed his kindness, so she restored the boy's ability to speak. The general's wife was shocked and overjoyed. She believed the baby girl had saved her son, so she brought the baby girl home. She adopted her as her own daughter. However, as soon as they returned to the general's home, the baby noticed the place was shrouded in darkness. This meant the general's family was about to face a great disaster. It turned out many servants had betrayed their master. They had switched allegiance to the baby's biological father, who was a major ranked just below the general. The biological father had always wanted to replace the general, so while the general was away at war, he secretly bribed the servants of the general's household. Fortunately, the angel baby arrived here. Her divine power dispelled the darkness. Clear skies returned to the general's home. The very next moment, a maid rushed in with good news. She said the general's mother, who had been unconscious for a year, had just awakened. After hearing about what happened today, the old lady also believed the baby would bring good fortune, so she gave the baby girl a precious necklace. She decided to raise her like a little princess. Just as the family was celebrating, a former classmate of the general's wife suddenly arrived. This woman had always been jealous that the wife married the general, so the moment she entered, she accused the baby of being born from the wife and another man. After all, the general had been away fighting wars. The wife did not bother to explain. She ordered the woman to get out. The woman immediately cursed the general to die on the battlefield. Hearing this, the wife was furious. She immediately exposed the woman's shamelessness, revealing that she was the major's mistress. It turned out this woman was indeed the major's lover. She had given birth to a son. The major was the one who swapped this son with the baby girl. He placed his son beside the baby girl's biological mother. With her secret exposed, she left in shame and anger. Before leaving, she shouted that the general lacked funds to buy weapons. She claimed he would soon be defeated. When the baby girl heard this, she quickly used her powers to send funds over. On the other side, the general suddenly received countless gold bars. The soldiers were overjoyed. With this financial support, they were confident they could win the war. Meanwhile, on the other side, the baby's biological father's household was struck by constant misfortune. First, his younger brother gambled away half of the family fortune. Furious, the father chased his brother and beat him. Suddenly, a flower pot fell from upstairs, nearly smashing his head. The brother ran upstairs to escape. When the father chased after him, he slipped. He broke his leg on the spot. This was the price for abandoning an angel. The general's household, however, was filled with joy. They received news that the general had won the battle and was about to return home. The whole family happily prepared to welcome him back. When the major heard this news, he was furious. If the general returned successfully, he would have no chance to replace him. At this moment, a messenger from the enemy arrived at the major's home. He said he was willing to help the major replace the general. The condition was that the major must immediately kill everyone in the general's household. The messenger presented a large supply of advanced weapons. The major immediately led many assassins and weapons toward the general's home. At that time, only the women and the young son were in the general's home. However, the general's wife showed no fear at all. She knew the general's troops had reached outside the city. They would arrive home very soon. Even if the general could not arrive in time to save them, she would never surrender to the enemy. However, the major seemed to see through her thoughts. He smugly said the general would never return. The wife anxiously demanded to know what he meant. At that moment, a deafening explosion suddenly rang out outside the city. The major believed his plan had succeeded. He thought the general had been blown to pieces. What no one knew was that the baby girl had already used her powers to warn the general. The general was actually unharmed, and he was about to arrive home. Both the general's wife and the major believed the general was dead. The wife had no choice but to prepare for the worst. That was to sacrifice herself to protect the child. She swiftly took care of the two enemies at the door. She prepared to have someone escort the child away. He immediately launched an attack on the boy. The baby girl quickly used her powers to help the boy dodge the attack. Enraged, the Major attacked again. At that very moment, the General returned. The situation instantly reversed. The General brutally beat the Major. The Major realized his plan had failed. He desperately begged the General to spare his life. The General refused to spare someone who tried to kill his family. At that moment, the Major's wife appeared holding a child. The Major's wife was the baby girl's biological mother. The child in her arms was the lover's son. However, the Major's wife did not know the truth. She only felt the baby girl looked familiar, so she unconsciously stared at the baby girl. Everyone was extremely tense.